Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be conferred with top awards of Guyana and Barbados to co-chair the second India CARICOM summit in Georgetown. US closes its Kyiv embassy over anticipated air attack. The move comes after Vladimir Putin raised the spectre of nuclear war. Benjamin Netanyahu makes a surprise visit to Gaza, offers a $5 million reward for each hostage returned. And the 55th International Film Festival of Goa begins in Goa, 101 countries to showcase 270 films. After concluding a constructive and fruitful G20 Brazil visit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Guyana on the last leg of his three-nation tour. In an unprecedented gesture, he was received at the Georgetown airport by Guyanese President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali. Prime Minister Mark Anthony Phillips, senior ministers and other dignitaries also accompanied the President to welcome Prime Minister Modi at the airport. The Prime Minister was accorded a ceremonial welcome upon his arrival at the airport. This is the first ever visit of an Indian Prime Minister in over 5 decades to Guyana. In a social media post, Prime Minister Modi expressed confidence that his visit will deepen the friendship between the two countries. During the two-day visit, the two sides will exchange views on giving strategic direction to the unique relationship which is based on shared heritage, culture and values. Prime Minister Modi will also pay his respects to one of the oldest Indian diaspora who migrated to Guyana more than 185 years ago and engage a fellow democracy as he addresses their parliament. During this visit, Prime Minister Modi will also join leaders from the Caribbean partner countries for the second India CARICOM summit. The summit will enable the leaders to renew historical ties and expand their cooperation into new domains. From the airport, Prime Minister Modi went to the hotel where he was received by Guyana's President, Prime Ministers of Grenada and Barbados, besides the Guyanese cabinet. In a special gesture, Prime Minister Modi was handed over the key to the city of Georgetown by the Mayor of Georgetown as a testament to the close India-Guyana relations. The hotel lobby was adorned with vibrant cultural displays, and the atmosphere was filled with a sense of pride and celebration upon the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Georgetown. Inside the hotel, Indian and Guyanese community greeted Prime Minister Modi with traditional hospitality, showcasing their respect and admiration. Meanwhile, Guyana will confer its highest national award, the Order of Excellence, on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Barbados too will confer the prestigious Honorary Order of Freedom of Barbados on Prime Minister Modi. Dominica had too announced its highest national award, the Dominica Award of Honor, on Prime Minister Modi a few days back. With these two additions, the number of international honours for Prime Minister Modi has reached 19. Guyana hopes to expand its cooperation with India into newer areas such as energy and food security, technology and military hardware. In an exclusive interview to DD India's Ramesh Ramachandran, Guyana's President Dr. Mohammad Irfan Ali said that he has personally witnessed the transformation of India under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Global leadership does not happen by accident. Global leadership occurs when you have strong local leadership in the country itself. And Prime Minister Modi has demonstrated a strength of leadership that has really positioned India globally and has opened up many opportunities for India and a greater level of regard for India. So what I've seen in India is a country that is accelerating at a rapid pace.
President Ali also said that he wants Guyana to benefit from India's success in the fields of digitalization and innovation.
Within the coming weeks, we will launch our Forest Guyana Digital School, which is built off of an Indian platform. We have thousands of students studying online at various Indian universities. So what I would say is that a lot of the technological advancement in improving governance efficiency, improving access to service, expanding access to service that you have mastered. Of course, we want to learn and to adopt those technologies here.
Earlier, Prime Minister Modi concluded his two-day Brazil visit with significant bilateral meetings with leaders of Australia, Brazil, Chile and Argentina. During their respective meetings, leaders took stock of full range of their shared relationships. With the Australian counterpart Albanese, Prime Minister Modi held the second India-Australia annual summit. Both leaders committed to further advancing their comprehensive strategic partnership.
On the second day of the G20, on the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held the second India-Australia annual summit and bilateral meeting with counterpart Anthony Albanese. Both leaders reiterated their commitment to further advance India-Australia comprehensive strategic partnership in myriad areas. Besides, they also welcomed the launch of renewable energy partnership. PM Modi said that in the last 2 years, India-Australia ties grew immensely in several sectors.
पिछले 2 वर्षों में हमारे आपसी व्यापार में 40% वृद्धि हुई है। रक्षा क्षेत्र में जॉइंट एक्सरसाइज, यंग ऑफिसर्स के बीच एक्सचेंज और हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स के डिप्लॉयमेंट को बढ़ावा मिला है।
While Australian Prime Minister too welcomed the launch of India-Australia Renewable Energy Partnership.
Today I am delighted to welcome the launch of the India-Australia Renewable Energy Partnership. This is a significant milestone in our cooperation. Our new partnership will boost two-way investment in renewable energy projects like solar PV manufacturing, battery mineral processing, green hydrogen and green iron.
PM Modi also held a bilateral meeting with Brazilian President Lula da Silva. President Lula told PM Modi that they have incorporated several things in their G20 which were also inspired from India's presidency. He added that Brazil wanted to reach the level of efficiency in organizing the summit that India had shown last year. Leaders also took stock of the full range of bilateral ties between two nations and reaffirmed their commitment to improve cooperation in sectors like energy, biofuels, defense, agriculture and more.
With the President of Chile, the two sides discussed the potential in areas such as trade and pharmaceutical cooperation. There are discussions on a commercial cooperation agreement that are ongoing between the two sides. Meeting between Prime Minister and the President of Argentina, Javier Milei. The two leaders exchanged their thoughts and their experience in handling issues related to governance.
After Brazil, Prime Minister Modi met Chilean President Gabriel Boric Font. India's ties with Chile are getting stronger across various sectors. The talks focused on ways to deepen relations in pharmaceuticals, technology, space and more. PM Modi said it is gladdening to see Ayurveda gaining popularity in Chile and ties in this sector can gain momentum. Besides, the Prime Minister also had an outstanding meeting with Argentinian President Javier Milei, after which he said that India cherishes the close friendship with Argentina. They talked about enhancing ties in energy, defense production, trade and culture. India-Argentina strategic partnership marks 5 years, adding immense vibrancy to bilateral relations. Earlier on day one of his Rio visit, Prime Minister Modi held bilateral talks with the leaders of US, the UK, France, Norway, Italy, Indonesia and Portugal. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's Defence Minister Rajat Singh is in Vientiane, Laos from November 20th to 22nd to attend the 11th ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus. At the meeting, Singh will address the forum on regional and international security issues. The ASEAN Defence Ministers Meet is the highest defence consultative and cooperation mechanism in ASEAN and a platform for ASEAN member states to deliberate. Rajnath Singh on Wednesday met the Chinese Defence Minister Dong Jun in Laos. On the sidelines of the meet, he will hold separate bilateral meetings with his counterparts from other nations aimed at further enhancing bilateral defence cooperation. India's Defence Minister also met his counterpart from Laos PDR, General Chansomon Chanyalat in Vientiane on the first day of his visit. Ahead of the 11th ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus, Rajnath Singh held a meet with the Defence Minister of Malaysia, Dato Seri Mohammad Khalid Nordin. Shifting focus to the COP29 summit underway in Baku, India's Union Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Kirtivartan Singh, met with UK's Energy Secretary Ed Miliband in Baku, Azerbaijan, on the sidelines of the COP29 summit. Both leaders discussed the ongoing UK-India climate partnership, including joint efforts in tackling climate change and advancing green technology. Earlier, Kirtivartan Singh also attended a dinner hosted by the Indian ambassador to Azerbaijan, Sridharan Madhusudhanan. Singh met with the Indian delegation for COP29 and members in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change Secretariat. And next, updates from the second day of the exercise Samyukt Vimochan 2024 that took place at the Porbandar beach on the Gujarat coast. The Indian Army is leading this drill of disaster response by Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy and State Disaster Response Forces in the scenario of a cyclone. Choppers, inflatable boats, sniper dogs and drones all pitch in to ensure synergy in case of a real cyclone. Our correspondent Nandita Daga reports.
Samyukt Vimochan 2024. This is the annual humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise which is being led by the Army, and it is aimed at improving the synergy and coordination between various agencies, which includes the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the State Disaster Response Force, the local weather departments, police, etc., the district administration, in providing succor to the people in the wake of a cyclone. So here there is a simulation of a very, very severe cyclone on the western coast of India between Porbandar and Okha, in the coastal state of Gujarat, and that is how the Army is demonstrating. The Navy has pressed in its assets, including the Coast Guard. The Army has deployed bridges like the Sarvatra and Bailey bridges, set up mobile hospitals or hospitals on wheels, a joint command and control center. The Air Force has winched up survivors on the rooftops of houses with the help of winching on a B-17, B-5 helicopter. The survivors are also being zip-lined from a building they were stranded on. Also, Gemini boats of the State Disaster Response Force are transferring the casualties from these affected areas via the sea to the Navy's hospital ship Talwar, because The area has been cut off, and of course there are no roads and bridges or routes to this place. So this is the entire scenario, the simulation, and all made in India assets are being deployed here. For example, the helipad for the Mi-17 and ALH helicopters is a polymer helipad which has been made completely in India. The drones that have been deployed for surveillance, the Drishti remotely piloted aircraft, that is made in India. So several assets are made in India in this exercise. Sanyukt Vimochan and 10 partner-friendly countries have also sent representatives, and they are also witnessing the exercise. With camera person Jagmohan Pradhan in Porbandar in Gujarat, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. A Russian delegation led by Natural Resources Minister Alexander Kozlov meets North Korean officials in Pyongyang. And jailed Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai tells court that his newspaper had championed democracy and freedom.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvita Nija. On to Germany now. Fears of hybrid warfare are rising in Europe after 2 undersea cables in the Baltic Sea were damaged. One of them runs between Finland and Germany and is the online cable between the Nordic country and Central Europe. Germany on Tuesday said that the damaging of these 2 undersea telecom cables in the Baltic Sea should be presumed to be sabotage, while Lithuania's armed forces increased surveillance of its waters in response. Germany's foreign minister stated that Russia's systematic attacks on European security architecture are unprecedented in their variety and scale.
Wir sind uns einig, unsere Sicherheit zu schützen und unsere Abschreckungsfähigkeiten zu sichern.
The Ukrainians are not only defending their own freedom and their country, but the Ukrainians have also been defending our European peace for 1,000 days and nights. Thanks alone are not enough. We must continue and even more so be prepared to do everything possible for the defense of European peace.
Der Vereinten Nationen und das in ihr verankerte Gewaltverbot.
The Russia-Ukraine conflict, now over 1,000 days long, remains a focal point of global concern marked by escalating tensions. Recent US support for Ukraine to strike deep into Russian territory has intensified the situation, drawing sharp responses from Moscow. Our next report has the details.
It's been more than 1,000 days since the Russia-Ukraine conflict began dominating global discourse. Amid growing fears of escalation, the US Embassy temporarily closed operations in Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv, after receiving specific intelligence about a potential significant air attack. This development follows the United States' decision to allow Ukraine to strike targets deep inside Russia using American-made weapons. Ukraine recently targeted a Russian weapons arsenal in the Bryansk region with attack missiles or the Army tactical missile systems, marking the first time these missiles were fired across the border. The Biden administration's significant policy shift prompted a response from Russian President Vladimir Putin, who on Tuesday signed a decree expanding the circumstances under which Moscow could use nuclear weapons against a non-nuclear state if that state is supported by nuclear powers. The US has not adjusted its nuclear posture in response to Russia's updated doctrine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his advisors are preparing for the possibility of a second Trump presidency, as the candidate has expressed criticism of US aid to Kyiv in the past. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, speaking to Fox News channel, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed fear that he might lose against Russia if US cuts military funding to Kyiv. The statement came amid beliefs that President-elect Donald Trump could help influence an end to the ongoing conflict.
If they will cut, I think we will lose. Of course, anyway, we will stay, we will fight. We have our production, but it's not enough to prevail. And I think it's not enough to survive. But that will be, if such choice will be American choice. So we will decide what we will have to do.
Now, amid all these developments, a Russian government delegate, Alexander Kozlov, met North Korean officials in Pyongyang on Tuesday. During the visit, both the countries discussed bilateral cooperation in different fields, including trade, economy, science and technology. This meet came after South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol at the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro urged the two countries to end their military cooperation, which is taking part in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And now let's bring you up to speed regarding what's happening in West Asia. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Gaza on Tuesday and said that Hamas would not rule the Palestinian enclave after the conflict in the region ends. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council is set to vote on a draft resolution on Wednesday calling for a ceasefire in Gaza to end the violence.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted that Hamas would not rule the Palestinian enclave after the war had ended and that Israel had destroyed military capabilities of Hamas. He said this during his visit to Gaza with his defense minister and army chief.
Hamas will not rule Gaza. We are eliminating its military capabilities in a very impressive way. We are moving on its governmental capabilities and the hand is outstretched. Hamas will not be in Gaza. We are also making an effort from this place and everyone to locate all hostages and return them. We are not letting up on this. We will continue to do this until we get them all.
The UN Security Council will vote on Wednesday on a draft resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza to end the conflict. However, the US may veto the resolution due to its strong alliance with Israel. Meanwhile, senior US and Israeli officials will meet early next month for the first talks in a new channel set up by Washington to assess civilian casualties. The US is continuing its efforts for a ceasefire in Lebanon. White House envoy Amos Hochstein met Parliament Speaker Nabir Berri in Beirut this week. US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said an agreement to end the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah was within reach on Tuesday.
So you might have seen that the President's Special Envoy Amos Hochstein was in Beirut today, meeting with the Speaker of the Lebanese Parliament. He gave a press statement after that where he made clear that we have made significant progress and that an agreement is within reach, but it's going to take decisions by both parties, by both Israel and Lebanon, to actually get an agreement, and that's what we're going to continue to push for.
Meanwhile, strike continues across the borders as smoke rose from the rubble in Lebanon's Nabatea, and emergency crews search and work to clear debris from heavily damaged buildings after blasts hit the town. Bureau Report, DD India.
Okay, shifting focus to the United States now, where President-elect Donald Trump is forging ahead with his presidential transition, announcing a list of loyalists for top roles and a string of controversial cabinet picks. He's named Linda McMahon as the Education Secretary. McMahon headed up the Small Business Administration in Trump's first tenure and was a major donor and early supporter of the Republican president-elect when he first ran for the White House almost a decade ago. Trump has also named his pick for the post of the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Celebrity Dr. Mehmet Oz would work closely with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has been nominated to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Trump said that the pair would take on the illness industrial complex and all the horrible chronic diseases left in its wake, as well as cutting what he called waste and fraud. The last but not the least announcement made on Tuesday included the name of Cantor Fitzgerald CEO Howard Lutnick, who will lead the Commerce Department in Trump's cabinet. Also, US President-elect Donald Trump met SpaceX owner Elon Musk on Tuesday at the launch of Elon Musk's company. SpaceX's sixth test flight of the Starship spacecraft from South Texas.
Avionics, power and telemetry nominal.
The rocket made a safe landing and stayed intact on Tuesday night as it splashed down in the Indian Ocean. SpaceX opted to land the ship's Super Heavy booster in the Gulf of Mexico rather than on land. Starship did ignite one of its Raptor engines successfully while in space for the first time. SpaceX plans to eventually use Starship to carry convoys of people to the moon and Mars. It's also the vehicle that NASA selected to land American astronauts on the lunar surface as soon as 2026. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Wednesday called China's decision to decline a meeting with him during the ASEAN Defense Ministers' meet a setback for the whole region. Austin had hoped to meet with China's Minister of National Defense Dong Jun, but China rejected the request, citing a recent Taiwan arms sale.
I regret that the PRC chose not to meet here. The PRC's decision is a setback for the whole region. As I've said consistently, the right time to meet is any time.
Jailed Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai defended his newspaper Apple Daily as a strong advocate for democracy and freedom during his national security trial on Wednesday. Lai stated that the core values of the newspaper, such as the rule of law, democracy, freedom of speech, religion, assembly, reflect the principles held by the people of Hong Kong. While Beijing slammed Lai as an agent and lackey for anti-China forces, the Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian said Lai is the main plotter and participant of anti-China chaos in Hong Kong. The case centers around articles in the newspaper that supported huge, sometimes violent pro-democracy protests in 2019 and criticized Beijing's leadership. The 76-year-old has been imprisoned for nearly 4 years and could face a life sentence. Next, we take a look at what else is making news around the world. A Japanese traditional coming-of-age festival took place at a shrine in Tokyo on Wednesday for robotic dogs. Dressed in kimonos, the bots lined up to celebrate Shichigo-san, a Japanese tradition for parents to take their children. As Japan's birth rate fell to a record low in 2023, the aging population is finding consolation from these mechanical pets and treating them as their own children. Russia transferred over 70 animals on Wednesday, including an African lion and 2 brown bears, to a zoo in the North Korean capital Pyongyang from Moscow's zoo. The animals were a gift from Russian President Vladimir Putin to the Korean people. Alexander Kozlov, Russia's natural resources minister, oversaw the relocation of the animals, who were transported by plane to the Pyongyang Central Zoo. An AI-powered autonomous underwater robot designed to adapt and react to rough seas in real time is being developed in the United Kingdom to help insects and repair offshore wind farms. Trials are underway in Edinburgh as part of the UK government-backed £1.4 million underwater intervention for offshore renewable energies project. The autonomous robots could enable high-precision operations even in turbulent sea conditions. And a London-based startup backs on its ability to move liquids and seeds using sound waves, revolutionizing several sectors, including life sciences and seed sorting. A Costofab, a University College London spin-off, has perfected the ability to pressure cage that pick up a small particle, manipulate it in midair and move to a specific location, all without touching it with anything other than a sound wave. Beyond healthcare and research, a Costofab's technology could also impact the agriculture sector. You're with us on DD India News. Still to come on the show. Brisk voting reported from Maharashtra and Jharkhand assembly elections, counting to be held on 23rd of November. And Delhi government proposes artificial rain as an emergency measure to mitigate pollution.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Tanvi Taneja. A relook at the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be conferred with top honours of Guyana and Barbados to co-chair the second India CARICOM summit in Georgetown later today. US closes its Kyiv embassy over anticipated air attack. The move comes after Vladimir Putin raised the spectre of nuclear war. And Benjamin Netanyahu makes a surprise visit to Gaza, offers a $5 million reward for each hostage returned. Ugandan opposition politician Kizza Besigye was kidnapped from Kenya and transferred to Uganda this weekend. His wife took over to the social media platform X on Wednesday, informing about his whereabouts at the military jail of Kampala. Besigye has run against Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni in 4 elections and has lost each time, although he has rejected the results, alleging fraud and voter intimidation. And updates from India's Maharashtra and Jharkhand assembly elections that went to polls today. With 58.22% voter turnout recorded till 5 p.m. in Maharashtra, a total of 4,136 candidates are contesting across 288 constituencies. While with 67.59% voting till 5 p.m. local time, over 500 candidates contested in 38 of the total 81 assembly seats in Jharkhand. Counting of votes in both these states will take place on Saturday. So as voting is underway in Maharashtra elections, many celebrities also exercise their franchise. Bollywood actors including Ranbir Kapoor, Kareena Kapoor, Madhuri Dixit cast their votes. So prominent celebrity siblings Farhan and Zoya Akhtar were also seen exercising their franchise in Mumbai. Actor Ritesh Deshmukh with wife Janelia also cast their vote in the ongoing elections. Other Bollywood celebrities like Anupam Kher, Subhash Ghai, Prem Chopra were also seen casting their votes. Thalassemics India, in collaboration with Voice of Healthcare, organised Thalassemia Conclave 2024 in New Delhi on Wednesday, with the aim to tackle the pressing challenges of thalassemia, a genetic blood disorder that affects millions of people globally. Niti Aayog member Dr. Vinod Paul and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare's Joint Secretary Saurabh Jain attended the event. While speaking at the conclave, both the guests spoke on how the Indian government is working to enhance patient care by launching several schemes for better prevention of thalassemia.
I want us to think about how the screening part can be truly scaled up in diverse states which are not, as contiguous as the belt of SED largely is. So basically, this building block of a national initiative eventually, or a national mission, please start putting in place what would it take and learn from what the SED has done.
Thalassemia is not just a medical challenge, but it is a public health concern that affects millions. The impact of this disorder is profound. India alone is home to around 3 to 5% of the population who are carriers of beta thalassemia. With 10 to 15,000 children born annually with severe forms of this disease in our country, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has spearheaded several key initiatives that align with the global best practices. The packages of thalassemia has been included under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. This comprehensive approach ensures that potential carriers are identified early, significantly reducing the risk of severe cases.
And the 55th edition of the Indian International Film Festival in the picturesque West Indian state of Goa has begun. Cinema lovers have already queued outside the theatre to catch the opening film of IFFI 2024, The Better Man. DD India's Deepika gets you an exclusive interaction with the theatre lovers and what are the key takeaways they will take back with them.
And now it's time to bring you all the buzzing excitement straight from Goa, from the grounds of Inox. And here you can see a long line where people are waiting for the opening film, which is The Better Man. Let's talk to them. How excited are you about this opening film, which is The Better Man?
Very excited. This is my first time in IFFI and pretty excited to watch this film. So I've been waiting in the queue for the last 2.5 hours, I guess. Yeah.
You've been waiting here in the line since past 2.5 hours. What really motivated you to come here? What is that thing that excited you about The Better Man?
Well, Better Man being one part, it's been directed by Michael Gracie, and then weaving film enthusiasts, and this is the first day and it's an opening film, so I'm hoping that it will be a great movie to watch. And
that's great. People have been waiting here since more than 2 hours to get to the stadium inside the movie theaters and watch the movie. There are more people here in the queue. We would like to talk to you and understand what is your understanding of IFFI and how excited are you about this particular event?
So this is my first festival, first IFFI actually. I'm from FTI. We both are from FTI, and it's day one, so FTI gave us the opportunity to attend IFFI, and we are grateful for that. Yeah.
Being from FTI, what sort of learnings do you take away from IFFI?
IFFI, we have attended festivals before. Let's see. Mostly we are dependent on master classes, international films, and experimental cinemas. We'll get to meet new filmmakers, different filmmakers, and hopefully, the maestros of cinema, so that we can learn from them.
All right. And now you both have been talking about the director of this movie. Tell us more about it. How excited are you for the movie?
We are in totality excited about IFFI, and I think we are starting with the entry.
Prasar Bharati is launching its OTT platform called Waves on the opening ceremony of IFFI, which promises to be a game changer in the world of content, creativity and technology. DD India's Deepika, in an exclusive conversation, had a word with the CEO of Prasar Bharati to understand more about it.
Right now we have with us the Chief Executive Officer of Prasar Bharati. Sir, thank you so much for talking to us. First of all, we would like to know what waves hold for the audience and why Prasar Bharati has taken up such a noble initiative.
From the very inception, Akashvani and then subsequently Doordarshan, and then when they came together as Prasar Bharati, they have been at the forefront of technological innovation in bringing newer forms of content to the audiences in India. As time has gone by, we have moved from basic radio broadcast to FM radio broadcast to television broadcast, high definition television broadcast, color TV broadcast, free dish. All of these initiatives were all part of the Prasar Bharati, Doordarshan, Akashvani family. And as the audiences have discovered the newer media of consuming content, digital is one medium which has gained quite a lot of prominence in these days and times. So it is only fitting that Prasar Bharati also forays into this domain. And one of the advantages of this would be also that the content would be available to all audiences, even if they are in the remotest parts of the country or even outside the country. There is a lot of demand for Indian content across the board, across the world. The Indian settlers in various countries also remember their times here in India through these programs. And of course, they want to keep updated with the news, with the entertainment of Indian origin. In waves, in this platform that we are now launching shortly, we will also be making provisions for sharing some of the informative content that is being produced by the ministries of Government of India, by various state governments, and some rare archival material of photographs, of magazines and journals and e-books. We would also be providing facilities for e-games. So, e-shopping, which is also gaining a lot of prominence these days, is also going to be a part of waves. So there is something for everyone, and I would request the audiences to download Waves later today and be a part of this experience of this entertainment ki nayi leher.
All right, there you heard. So don't forget to download the app and experience this unique opportunity. With camera person Alok, this is Deepika reporting for DD India.
India's Minister of State for Science and Technology announced the scientific completion of an indigenously developed antibiotic, Nafithromycin (McNaf), which is effective against community-acquired bacterial pneumonia (CABP) caused by multi-drug resistant pathogens. The minister said that antimicrobial resistance has emerged as a global public health crisis, compromising the effective prevention and treatment of infections.
We have more than 8,000 biotech startups. But going by the theory of relativity, because that's what makes the difference, we just had 50 before 2014. So the point important to be noted is that we have from 50 gone up to more than 8,000, nearly 9,000 in these few years. And our bioeconomy was just about 10 billion US dollars, which is now about more than 130 and nearly 150 billion dollars. Looking forward to the projection of 300 billion dollars. The first indigenous antibiotic against resistant infections from India is also in keeping with the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India. So we have made in India something not only for Indians, but also who are non-Indians. So that's a huge contribution.
Delhi's air quality remains in the severe plus category, with toxic pollution choking the citizens for the second day. Delhi Police is conducting vehicle checks to ensure proper implementation of Stage 4 of the Graded Response Action Plan. GRAP Stage 4 enforces a ban on the operation of Delhi-registered BS4 and older diesel-operated medium goods vehicles and heavy goods vehicles, except those engaged in essential services. The Delhi government has proposed artificial rain to combat the crisis, seeking central intervention. But is this solution feasible? DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya spoke with V.K. Soni of the India Meteorological Department to explore the practicality of cloud seeding.
Joining me is Dr. V.K. Soni, a senior scientist with IMD, and who is also heading the environment and the research wing in the department. Will Delhiite and NCR people will have a sign of relief?
At present, the air quality index is in severe category. Yesterday, it was in severe plus category. So, little improvement is there, but still we think that air quality will remain in severe category for next 2 days.
Do we see any sort of a relief in the next week or two?
Air quality will more or less will remain in severe category. Little improvement will be there in next 2 days, but still it will remain in severe category.
Do we have enough cloud moisture here in Delhi right now?
Cloud seeding is not a viable solution to control the air pollution. During winter season, the Delhi NCR moisture level is very low, and cloud formation is not there. These clouds are not seedable actually.
Right. We can see right now, this is the map, this is the current scenario. There is no cloud as such in Delhi NCR region. And this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So for cloud seeding, you need right amount of cloud, right quality of cloud, then only it is possible.
And it's an expensive process also.
It is expensive, but cloud has to be there. So right now the clouds are not there, and winter season we are not expecting much clouds over this region.
So all those people who are talking about the fact that cloud seeding might just be an answer to mitigate the high level of pollution in the country, well, that's Dr. V.K. Soni stating that that's not the case. With camera person Vimlesh, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for GD India from Delhi.
And now we also take a look at other stories making news in India. India's Ministry of Science and Technology has developed a new technology for unambiguous detection of HIV genome using tailored fluorogenic tests. A team of scientists at the Jawaharlal Nehru Centre for Advanced Scientific Research developed a novel diagnostic technology known as the GQ Topology Targeted Reliable Conformational Polymorphism Platform for targeted better detection of HIV genome. This diagnostic platform promises to significantly reduce false positives in HIV detection. Indian Railways will add 1,000 new general coaches to over 370 trains by the end of November to ensure smooth travel for the passengers. This step will allow an extra 100,000 passengers to travel daily. Solar Energy Corporation of India signed an MOU with H2 Global Stiff Tongue to establish a collaborative framework promoting green hydrogen initiatives. This aims to enhance knowledge exchange on market-based mechanisms and foster cooperation between India and importing countries, contributing to the global advancement of the green hydrogen economy. Bitcoin rose to a record high above $94,000 amid reports that Donald Trump's social media company was in talks to buy the crypto trading firm backed Bitcoin. The world's biggest and best known cryptocurrency has more than doubled this year. It was last at $92,104 in Asian hours on Wednesday, having touched a record high of $94,078 just towards the end of the previous session. Cryptocurrencies have surged since the November 5th US election as traders expect Trump's support for digital assets to result in a more favorable regulatory environment and revive the Bitcoin after a slow period. The Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Darren Jones, said that inflation is stable in the UK while the cost of living remains a problem for ordinary families. He added that the current Labour government is turning the page on economic instability. British inflation jumped by more than expected last month to rise back above the Bank of England's 2% target, and underlying price growth also gathered speed. In October, the consumer prices in the UK rose by 2.3 percentage points annually, followed by a rise of 1.7% in September.
The cost of living is a continued problem for working families across the country, but it is good news that inflation is stable and close to target at 2% today. And I think businesses, investors and working people across the country will be happy that we have a government that takes economic stability properly and will not put us back into the chaos that we saw under Liz Truss and the Conservatives.
No business sector has seen as much of an uptake in recent years as the defense sector for obvious reasons, as two major wars are playing out in Ukraine and West Asia. For many businesses, the question is how to position themselves in this environment. The CEO of Pan-European Airbus says some consolidation might be helpful. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now. Lars, what exactly are you hearing from Airbus?
Thanks for having me. Yes, indeed, the group's CEO, Guillaume Faury, says that Europe's space industry, he initially started with that, but later expanded his comments to defense, needs to restructure and consolidate in the face of a private US competition and investments in China and elsewhere. To quote Monsieur Faury, he says, we are fragmented in a world where some giants have emerged, especially in the US, but not only. They are also growing in China. As for the US, SpaceX has become a giant in the field, supplying NASA with rockets and technology and pretty much single-handedly saving the country's space program. Now, SpaceX is obviously owned and run by Elon Musk, who is now President-elect Trump's best buddy. And with that, his standing and most certainly the standing of his company will grow. So as not to be left in the dust, the Airbus CEO says that his company and France's Thales Space and Italy's Leonardo are in early talks on a possible tie-up of their individual satellite activities.
Thank you, Lars. You're watching Did India News. Our time now for some sporting action. Defending champions India defeated China 1-0 in the final to clinch the Women's Asian Champions Trophy at the Rajgir Hockey Stadium in Bihar on Wednesday. Both the teams failed to score till the half-time, but in the third quarter, Deepika Kumari broke the deadlock. She unleashed a reverse hit to score India's first and her 11th goal of the tournament. Chinese goalkeeper made valiant saves, including a penalty stroke to restrict the scoreline to 1-0. India have remained unbeaten in the tournament. India's star shuttlers PV Sindhu, Malvika Bansod and Lakshya Sen have moved to the second round of the China Masters badminton tournament in Shenzhen on Wednesday. They secured superlative wins in the opening round of the women's and men's singles events respectively. Sindhu, a two-time Olympic medalist, defeated higher-ranked Busanan Ongbangrongpan 21-17, 21-19, notching up her 20th win against the Thai shuttler. Lakshya Sen avenged his Olympic bronze medal loss with a 21-14, 13-21, 21-13 win over 7th-seed Malaysia's Lee Zijia. Malvika Bansod also registered an upset win. She defeated world number 21 Line Hodgmark 20-23, 23-21, 21-16 to advance to the second round. So from a helmet signed by 7 times Formula One world champion Michael Schumacher to Paul McCartney's guitar, a range of items will go under the hammer this week in Britain. Some 200 items will go under the hammer at the Surrey Auction House Sporting Memorabilia sale on Wednesday. Among these are a 2004 racing season replica helmet signed by Schumacher, limited edition book about late Brazilian soccer star Pelé. Other soccer items for sale include a 1956 menu signed by Manchester United players, some of whom died in the 1958 Munich air crash. The auction will follow on Thursday with more than 300 lots being offered. Among the highlights is a Hofner violin bass signed by veteran musician Paul McCartney and a signed limited edition print of the cover for Oasis 2006 Stop the Clock's compilation album designed by British artist Peter Blake. The South African village of Mariapane has found a new social outlet for its elderly, a jazz group inspired by New York's Vanguard Club. The village is providing community through dance and music. The club holds live music sessions every fortnight, becoming a major attraction by many older residents.
New York City, New Jersey, Texas. Entering the grace of
That's it for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live, and you can download the DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. So we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.